Hi there, everyone. Lynn Thayer here, and this is take two. Yes, it's a live video, but the first one was interrupted by someone at the door, and the dog was barking away. Anyhow, I'm answering questions because I had asked last week, I believe it was, what is your biggest problem or challenge? And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see I did a first video and I answered some of those answers, and today I'm answering a few more. So if it resonates with you, that's great, and if it doesn't, feel free to reject, and that's totally okay as well. My name is Lynn Thayer. I'm a mental fitness coach, a hypnotist, and I'm going to start off and answer. John McDonald had also said that his biggest challenge right now is consistency. And so when it comes to consistency, well, I'd need to dive in a little bit deeper and find out exactly what are you speaking about specifically. Is it the gym? Is it diet? Is it consistency with something at work or in a business? But John, I believe we know each other quite well. So when it comes to consistency, if it's the gym, for me personally, we talked about anchoring in the previous video that I did. And so NLP and anchoring, basically giving yourself a cue. It can be a visual cue, an auditory cue that anchors you into something that you need to be doing or want to be doing. So if it is the gym, for an example, for me, my anchor is that before I go to bed each night, I have my workout clothes sitting on my dresser. So the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I lean up out of bed and I look over, and that's my cue. It's a visual cue for me that, oh, I'm getting dressed in my workout clothes right now. My bag, my gym bag is by the door. It's already packed and ready to go. So that's for me how I create my consistency. Some other people might even have a favorite song, and you might schedule it to sound or an alarm on your phone where as soon as you hear that signal, that's an auditory anchor, then it's a cue to your mind that you've set that, oh, well, that means that I need to drink water. If you're having difficulty getting enough water in, which was another answer to my question. So if you want to create an anchor that will help you with your consistency, that's one thing that you can do. So that's just a tip for that one. I'm going to go back and see Denise Bro. Yes, she had said that for her, a leg workout and drinking enough water was a difficult part for her. So I'd have to, again, dive in a little deeper and find out what specifically about the leg workout are you having a challenge with. And getting enough water in. Again, you can set a little timer on your phone that signals to you to remind you to be drinking your water. That's one way to do it. And always have water handy is very important. Another woman says she had a bit of a longer statement. Courtney says, being a stay-at-home mom, the hardest thing I've ever done. And I feel resentful sometimes towards my husband, who has a great job and works all the time, and she's feeling a little bit regretful that she didn't go to university and become a social worker like she wanted to, and having that career before kids. And so, Courtney, what I would say to that, and feel free to reject if it doesn't resonate with you, is that it's never too late. Okay, so that's one thing, is to know that no matter what age you are, you can always return to some sort of education. And so for me, last summer, I was doing trainers training in the US, and I'm turning 47. I've been going back to school, some sort of training, for the last 10 years, going back to school when I was in Ottawa, when I was working full time. I was a single mom before, and yes, there can be challenges, and just know that you do have the resources, or you can find the resources to help you to be able to do what it is that you want to do. So basically that, you know, you can have that mindset of, if it's truly that something that you want and desire in your heart, then I would say just go for it and make a plan, right? And so having a plan is always helpful. So thank you for that. And the next one, and this is a loaded one, and I could talk for 2 hours on this one, but Jennifer, Ruth, and there was a couple of other people. Todd is living with PTSD. And so when it comes to trauma and PTSD, learning about the unconscious mind is, I believe, important, because when you experience an event or something happens and you're a witness or you're experiencing something traumatic, what happens is that that experience goes right directly into your neurology, goes into your nervous system. And so we filter our experience, but when it comes into our nervous system, we see, we hear, we smell, we taste, we feel. So it comes in through all of our senses. And the unconscious mind is so powerful that it records everything we have ever seen, heard, felt, smelled, tasted since we were born. And the unconscious mind records it. It's a supercomputer, and it remembers everything. So what happens sometimes is with someone who is experiencing this, just for an example, my husband, a veteran with also PTSD, here locally in Canada, he was out one day and, he came across something where he had a smell that returned him right back to where he was, whether, in Bosnia or Africa. And so he would have flashbacks. And this can happen because everything's stored in the nervous system. Now, one technique that has been proven to help is timeline therapy, created by Dr. Tad James. And so there is one program called the Warrior Program in the UK that was started back in the 1990s. And the people who began this program, that's endorsed by the royal family, are graduates from the Tad James Company. And during the Croatian War, they even flew Tad James in to work with veterans with PTSD. Now, PTSD can affect a lot of different people, from our first responders to veterans, to anyone who has witnessed or suffered any type of significant abuse, perhaps, or emotional trauma. And so perhaps even just going online and researching timeline therapy, that is something that I do with all of my clients, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and different NLP techniques when we work one-on-one. And so if you feel like you'd like to learn more about it, then definitely do a little bit of research and reach out if you'd like to. So another thing with PTSD and trauma is I encourage you to focus solely on what you want for yourself, visualize what you want, and the don'ts, we want to put them behind, right? So if you don't want certain things, recognize that your unconscious mind cannot process a negation directly. So when you say to yourself, I don't want to have nightmares, I don't want to suffer, I don't want to, the unconscious mind hears, I want to have nightmares, I want to suffer. For an example, if you say to little kids, don't run, poof, they take off and they go even faster. But if you were to say to them, walk please, then they look over and, oh, they begin to walk, right? So the unconscious mind can't process a negation directly. Keeping that in mind, I encourage you to focus solely on what you want for yourselves. I'm wishing you a great weekend. I'm off this afternoon to a health fair. I have a table there at Stu. And I will be back on next week with some more tips, answering more questions, and have a great weekend. Bye for now, everyone.